All right, I guess now it's time for SME on Point. So this week we are all about food. Healthy eating and clean eating is not only growing in popularity, but also as a necessity for general well-being. This week, our featured business of the week is all about subsistence farming and nutrition. First on our menu is the founder of HomeGrownSA, Phumzile Nhlapho, who shares her story with us. Her insert is edited by Mangoba Nkosi. Phumzile Nhlapho's business of healthy plant-based salad jars was born after she impressed her colleagues with how beautifully she packed her lunch at work. What was then a hobby has now grown into a fully fledged business, packed in glass jars.
From colleagues of mine continuously seeing my lunch at work, that's literally the humble beginnings of this business. They were used to see how I package my food, and I've always been drawn to glass packaging, and without fully understanding why it was good and why I liked it. But this business was birthed through colleagues just admiring my food and then prompting me to start something by making lunch for them.
While many aspiring entrepreneurs often cite startup capital as an impediment to starting a business, Nhlapho says this doesn't have to be so.
I started with what I had. I had food and I had an idea, and I used my hands, and with every little bit that I made, I plowed back into the business. So startup capital for me is not something for us as entrepreneurs that we must revolve around and focus on as we start to implement businesses. We must start where we are, use what we have, and then the capital will come. I believe the capital will come.
Nhlapho's salad jars are currently on the shelf of at least one big retailer, a milestone difficult to reach for many, but one that she says has taught her understanding of better pricing, costing and dispatching at retail level. And while businesses dust themselves off of a rough COVID-19 ride, Nhlapho says this period has reminded her about the purpose of her business.
COVID-19 taught me that you cannot start a business without purpose, right? Because if your primary reason for starting a business is based around making a profit, there comes a time when there's literally nothing happening, like we've seen with the lockdown, and certain sectors are only allowed to function. So when you start a business, it has to have purpose and meaning behind it. And I think my greatest experience in this lockdown period was that HomeGrownSA was no longer a priority for most households due to the lack of income and salary cuts that people were seeing. But the purpose behind it and the overall goal of educating people about subsistence farming and raising awareness kept the business alive and kept me hopeful about the business picking up and taking the shape that it has today.
With other parts of the world already seeing a second wave of the pandemic, Nhlapho says she hopes South Africans can embrace subsistence farming in their homes in preparation for the unknown. In the meantime, her plans for 2021 include extending the business into the education system.
To integrate this agriculture or subsistence farming subject to be a part of the learning program in order to empower the children that go to these schools around my community with the skill that they can use long term in order for them to be able to sustain themselves looking at the high unemployment rate.
Liabo Setho, SABC News, Johannesburg. Thank you so much to HomeGrownSA for sharing their story with SME on Point. And as usual, I do remind you that we do have a Facebook page, and it is at SME on Point if you ever want to get in touch with us. So next up in our menu is the owner and founder of Ubuntu Extra Virgin Olive Oil, Loyiso Manga. At 35, he's determined to inscribe his name in the books of history as South Africa's first black commercial olive farmer. Manga is the proud owner of Ubuntu Extra Virgin Oil. Let's chat to him now via Zoom to hear more about his olive oil. Loyiso, welcome to SME on Point. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about your story. What is your story? Farming and olive oil. Where did it all start?
It all started about a couple of years ago when I decided, after growing up in a farming background and working at corporate, I decided that I wanted to go into the agricultural space. I saw opportunity in it. And one day I was visiting a wine farm in the Western Cape. And the farmer told me about his olive oils. And immediately, when he spoke about the health benefits of the olive oil, it immediately spoke to me and to my family members who were struggling, with high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol levels and all those things. So that's how I just gravitated towards it, and I love it.
Yeah. So what is unique about Ubuntu olive oil? I love the packaging, by the way. I think our viewers, I hope they can see them on the screen. I think it's really great. But what is so unique about it, besides that it's homegrown, it is a local product?
I think the one thing besides the ones that you stated, I'm entering a niche market, and there are no people of color or black people who are in the niche market. And one of the major things that we want to do, one of our visions, is to make Ubuntu Extra Virgin Olive Oil a household brand. Yeah. When we consider that we are the first youth-owned business, we want to make sure that we serve as an inspiration to other young people who are, whether they're in the agricultural sector or in business, so for them to know that they can thrive through all, and they can, do whatever they dream to do. So the the beautiful thing about our olive oil is that it's well blended. The oil, we did win gold in the New York olive oil competition, so it's world class. It competed against your Italies and your Spains, so it's a world class, well grown olive oil product that people just love.
Oh, great! I'm curious to hear about your entrepreneurial journey through of launching Ubuntu olive oil. And the financing part of it. This is something I know people. Sitting at home, they're asking themselves, how did he do it? Take me through briefly your entrepreneurial journey. What were the opportunities that you saw? What were the challenges that you went through?
So the major challenges, of course, is the issue of access to land and access to finance. Yeah. I've been struggling for the last two and a half years, to get funded, to get an olive producing farm, an ongoing concern olive oil farm. So I think I do share the sentiments of many entrepreneurs and agripreneurs out there who are trying to enter niche markets, who are trying to to open doors for themselves. So access to finance has been very torturous. But throughout all of that, we do try and look for ways and means of trying to get some form of support. The opportunities are plenty. South Africans are living healthy. I think the pandemic has also woken our people up to the reality that one needs to keep on board with their health. Yeah. And you can gym as much as you want, but if you do not supplement it or eat or diet, and use a premium olive oil like Ubuntu Extra Virgin Olive Oil or any other homegrown South African olive oil, then it's all in vain. So there are immense health benefits. Yeah,
let's talk about the pricing, right? I know that olive oil is not cheap. So how do you manage the pricing in such a way that people don't say, it's too expensive, I won't be able to, so I'd rather use a normal household or other branded oil. How's your pricing? And take me through the strategy of how you came around your pricing.
Okay, so one of the major things is, due to the fact that I couldn't get access to purchasing the farm, I had a conversation with the owner and I said, please back me, give me some bottles, I'll brand them and I'll do my thing. And we sold about 500 bottles in the first month in December. So that was amazing. And we've been doing great so far. So the pricing is rather competitive. My olive oil, 500 mils is 130. And if you look at others, depending on which brand it is, some are going for 180, but a premium high quality olive oil with good credentials is averaging at about 120, 130 for 500 mils. And anything less than that is probably blended or mediocre.
Before I let you go, quickly in 1 minute, tell me about your road show. I know you're very excited about it, your road trip and touring. Tell me quickly about that.
So due to not getting, support from SIFA and other institutions, I decided, because I want to make my brand a household brand, I resigned from work and got myself a loan and hired a car and branded it. And I'm in PE currently. I drove through from Cape Town, and we're going to be traveling through East London, through KZN, and to Johannesburg. And, the campaign is basically just to garner support for someone to say, or for a department head to say, listen, let's back this boy. He's doing something great. And it's just all together attention for us to become a national brand and to get, the farm that we want.
Yeah.
We want to own the value chain.
Listen, you are doing something great. Congratulations, and thank you so much for joining us on SME OnPoint. We really appreciate it. All right, that was Loyiso Manga. He is the owner and founder of Ubuntu Extra Virgin Olive Oil, that is homegrown, and he says he'll be around the country doing tours, and he's hoping for your support if you do ever see him. But listen, this is all from SME OnPoint for this week. I am back next week with another part of SME OnPoint. Up next is Tash with Books on Point.